it's kind of impossible to not be gifted a sub. Am I right? So if everybody in here that watches on the daily doesn't get, if we get to day 30, and y'all niggas don't be gifted a sub, that's just crazy. Because we almost have as many subs as we do viewers right now.
This is how the entire thing began, with Kai yelling into his microphone, trying to convince his audience that this was some kind of legendary moment, when in reality, it already looked exhausting. The energy inside that mansion didn't feel exciting or inspiring, it felt desperate. The more you watched, the more it became clear that this stream wasn't about fun or community anymore. It was about keeping the money flowing and keeping the timer from hitting 0. 30 straight days of people pretending to enjoy each other's company while counting down seconds on a clock. Cameras running non-stop, no privacy, no patience, and definitely no passion. The smiles looked forced, the laughter felt hollow, and you could tell that almost everyone there was in it for one reason, the payout.
Go in there, 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 go in there.
What? Not upstate New York. See? Big New York City.
See?
New York City.
See?
New York City. New York City. New York City. New York City.
See?
New York City!
See, game?
That was the energy from the very beginning. Chaotic, loud, and already spiraling out of control. It was clear that nobody was doing this for passion or creativity. They were all doing it for profit. Everyone inside that mansion was chasing a bigger number, a higher sub count, and a fatter check. The longer it went on, the more it stopped feeling like a celebration and started feeling like a slow motion disaster being broadcast to millions. From the very first day, it was obvious that this entire event was built on money, not moments. Kai didn't even try to hide it. The subathon structure itself was designed like a game of survival, but the only thing being kept alive was the stream's revenue.
Okay, this is the point of a subathon. The subathon is just like this, okay? Now listen, chat. If it hits 0, the stream ends. But, okay, if it don't hit 0, it continues. Each sub is 3 seconds, but y'all about to use a power hour, which for a whole entire hour, the seconds of a sub are double. Okay? The seconds for a sub are double.
That was Kai, explaining the rules like a man setting up a slot machine. Every new sub meant a few more seconds on the clock. Every second was a little more money, a little more pressure, and a little less sanity for everyone trapped in that mansion. The goal wasn't creativity or entertainment anymore. It was endurance. How long could they keep the timer alive before the entire thing collapsed under its own weight? The audience treated it like an investment, throwing their money at the screen just to see the number go up. It was absurd watching people online act like donating their paychecks somehow made them part of something meaningful.
I'm here, Kai. I'm donating $10. What? How did $10 only make the timer go up by 0.01 seconds? Fine. $100. What? 0.02 seconds only? I have to use my life savings. It's okay. It's a valuable sacrifice for the greater good of humanity. $10,000, Kai. Take everything I have. How is that only 5 seconds? That doesn't make sense.
Guys, we're doing Power Hour.
It's Power Hour. No! I should have saved my money for Power Hour.
That one clip perfectly captured the insanity of it all. Fans convincing themselves they were part of something bigger, when in reality, they were just paying to keep a millionaire's timer running. It became clear that Mafiathon 3 wasn't about connecting with an audience or pushing the boundaries of live streaming. It was a spectacle built around money, ego, and endless noise. The entire thing felt like a casino floor, bright lights, fake laughter, and people pretending to have fun while their wallets slowly emptied. No matter how you looked at it, the whole stream felt wrong. The constant begging for subs, the fake hype, the awkward moments of silence that followed when the energy died down. It didn't feel like entertainment anymore. It felt like watching people work a job they secretly hated, one donation at a time. And that's when the cracks started to show. Because when you trap that many people in one house for a month, chasing money and pretending to get along, it's only a matter of time before things start to fall apart. Not long after the Mafiathon began, the cracks in the friendships started to show. The pressure of living under constant cameras mixed with the ridiculous no-smoke challenge created a situation that felt more like a social experiment than a live stream. Kai thought it would be funny to test discipline among his friends, but what he really did was trap a group of people already addicted to chaos in a confined space with nothing to do except argue.
100 bands amongst the 3 y'all to go to day 30 without y'all smoking.
Kai had offered that challenge as if it were some kind of motivational deal. The others agreed, maybe because they didn't want to look weak on camera, but Kai went a step further and decided that a few of them would be assigned as probation officers to make sure nobody broke the rule.
Khalil, Rakai, and the other guys, including myself, are probation officers of your daily movement.
That single decision planted the seed for what became one of the ugliest fights on the stream. Within the first 24 hours, Kai walked into a scene that looked like something straight out of a reality TV meltdown. Dez and Rakai were already in each other's faces, yelling so loud that even the chat went quiet.
He gonna let you can. You dumb. Oh, fuck what you say. Don't talk to me.
That's why you're mentally fucked up.
I don't give a
Mentally
crazy. Fuck. I don't give a
He said, I hope
don't give a fuck.
He
You're
said, he
gonna
hopes
die.
me die. He said, he's not
If you keep smoking vape, you're gonna die.
Look at my face, bro.
You're gonna die to smoke vape.
My face,
Yes.
bro.
Yo, listen.
I don't smoke vape, first of
You
all.
still smoke vape.
He's literally
I don't know
how that's
fuck.
your friend.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't know how that's
You
your
don't give a
friend.
fuck.
I don't know how that's your friend. That's a bad example, bro.
But I know how you know him.
The argument spiraled instantly. Dez had just started the challenge and was clearly irritable, and Rakai seemed determined to push every possible button. When Kai realized what was happening, he looked like a teacher walking into a classroom fight he couldn't stop.
Every single hell nigga. You're ghetto, you're
You
ugly,
can't.
you're
You can't.
visible,
P.O. change your
sad
clothes.
all the time,
Yup.
mad all the time.
Yup.
Mad- And at your age, it's
Yo, I don't give a
At your age, it's
I don't. My little brother your age, you can't do shit with him. You can beat the shit out of him.
Yo, your brother, yeah.
P.O. Your age. What bet?
P.O.
P.O. I bet.
P.O.
Okay, cool.
Change your clothes.
But the whole situation felt surreal. Viewers expected friendly banter and funny challenges. Instead, they were watching grown men argue over who could handle being sober for a few hours. The entire family vibe that Kai always tried to promote vanished within minutes. From what most people could tell, Rakai had probably gone to check on Dez to make sure he wasn't smoking, but he couldn't resist taking a few verbal jabs. Dez, already on edge from withdrawal, lost control. It looked less like friends having an argument and more like two strangers ready to fight.
I don't give a fuck what he say. He does vape. And he smokes cigarettes. Don't give a fuck.
Miserable.
P.O. Yo, P.O. P.O.
You have a sad life, my
Trash
nigga.
and chat is over.
All you do is be mad all day.
That's what you think. You
So
don't
much
know me.
problems, bro.
You don't know me.
You're miserable.
You drink. You drink. You gotta really go to the store instead of buying weed, buy vape. And your mother's allows it because you really smoking vape in front of everybody. I got the video. You are a homosexual vape star.
I ain't gonna lie.
Stop talking. I'm sober. This is what you wanted. Let's go.
The longer it went on, the clearer it became that they weren't acting. This wasn't some exaggerated content stunt. These were real tempers and real grudges playing out live for hundreds of thousands of people. And Kai, who had planned this as a bonding experience, was now the referee of a 30-day argument. The worst part was that it didn't even stop there. Rakai kept pushing, and Dez kept reacting until the entire thing turned into a shouting match that felt less like streaming and more like surveillance footage from a group falling apart.
On your street, that's
Like,
fucked up.
come
That's your
on,
means.
gang.
My means will never do that, gang. No matter what, gang.
Yo, every
All your man's pussy.
Okay,
All
come
your man's
on,
tough,
bro.
Fuck all your
You see
man's.
me?
All your
Yes,
man's pussy.
come on.
A grown ass man.
All your man's pussy. Shut up.
All right, look.
Let me show my man something. All your man's pussy. I'm from Brooklyn. What you want to do? Oh, you fake ass New Yorkian.
You're literally
Fuck
mentally
up,
fucked
nigga.
up. You're mentally fucked up.
Fuck up. We do
You're
vape.
mentally
I'm
fucked up.
about to cancel the whole challenge,
Come
bro.
on, nigga.
I'm about to save my money, chat.
No, don't save money.
Chat, I'm about to save my money.
By this point, Dez looked ready to fight, following Rakai down the hallway while everyone else scrambled to mute mics and calm the situation down.
How is your man, bro?
Yo, turn off his mic. Turn off his mic. Turn off his mic. Turn off his mic.
In that moment, it was impossible to ignore how far the Mafiathon had drifted from its original purpose. What was meant to be a high-energy month of streaming now looked like a tense household full of people pretending to like each other for money. The smiles on camera didn't match the arguments off camera. Everyone looked trapped, not by the walls of the mansion, but by the pressure to keep performing even when they clearly couldn't stand one another. What happened next pushed the entire event from uncomfortable to downright chaotic. After the shouting match between Dez and Rakai, everyone assumed things would cool down, but instead the tension turned darker. It turned out this wasn't even their first argument. Earlier, while they were riding in the car, Rakai had allegedly threatened Dez by claiming he'd put money on his head.
Now you only said that because what?
He also, I said I'll
So
put,
you-
I said
so
I'll
you
put
said it.
30,000 on his. Cause he said he gonna kidnap me,
And I said,
fuck up. You said that in
you
the
gonna
car.
put 30,000 on my head,
Right now,
and I'm gonna kill you right now.
Bro,
If you put 30,000 on your head.
Talk about nothing, bro.
You say you gonna put 30,000.
He said he's gonna kill me and kidnap me first. Punga said that the whole time. Why did he say that? Punga? Words about my life. He said that first. On my mother's life, you said first. And you even called your man saying, "Oh, yo, tell me how I get.
That was the point when even Tio, who usually laughed everything off, looked stunned. Nobody watching could believe a 16-year-old had just said that to a grown man, live, in front of hundreds of thousands of people. It wasn't a prank or a joke, it was an actual threat being argued about on camera. Rakai later tried to explain that he had only said it because Dez had threatened him first, but even that excuse didn't make it any better. Whether it was real or not, you can't throw around death threats on a live Twitch stream and expect it to stay drama-free. Dez, who was in his 20s, looked both furious and embarrassed. It felt like he suddenly realized how bad the entire thing looked, but by then, it was already too late. Kai's stream, which had been sold to viewers as entertainment, now looked like a crisis management broadcast. The chat was divided, half mocking Rakai, half defending Dez, while everyone else was wondering how Twitch hadn't already shut the whole thing down. Moments later, things reached their breaking point when Dez finally snapped.
Look, yo, come on, get out. Get the f gang. Get out. Oh yeah, get out.
Kai jumped in to stop it before the situation got physical, but it didn't matter. The damage was already done. The internet had seen what really went on behind the scenes of the Mafiathon, a group of people barely tolerating each other, trying to act like friends for money, and losing control in front of millions. The entire incident exposed just how unstable the environment was. You could feel the exhaustion and resentment in every conversation, and the fact that one of the main participants was a 16-year-old only made it worse. Viewers kept asking how Twitch could allow any of this to continue. Most streamers would have been instantly banned for less, but Kai seemed untouchable. He wasn't just another creator on the platform, he was Twitch's biggest moneymaker, and that protection would become even clearer in the days that followed. If this had happened to anyone else on Twitch, the entire stream would have been taken down before the next sunrise. A public argument, multiple slurs, a threat involving money on someone's head. It was everything Twitch claims to ban people for. But this was Kai Cenat, the platform's poster child, the man who broke records, pulled in millions of views, and practically carried Twitch through dry months. So instead of a suspension or even a warning, Twitch did what it always does when its biggest star gets caught in chaos. It looked the other way. At this point, the favoritism was impossible to ignore. Every other streamer who's ever crossed a line knows how fast Twitch acts when they aren't part of the inner circle. People have been banned for far less, some for things they didn't even do live. But Kai, he could host the most chaotic event of the year, have open conflict, and Twitch would still show up to smile for the camera.
Something for you, guy. It's been a hell of a month.
That boy gave me an aura.
Last day.
That's what you got to.
That wasn't a random viewer or a sponsor saying that. That was Dan Clancy, the actual CEO of Twitch, standing in Kai's mansion during the same event that had already spiraled into multiple arguments. Instead of addressing any of the chaos, he treated it like a celebration. It was a clear message. Rules don't apply when you're making Twitch millions. The platform had turned into a business that runs on double standards. If you're small, one slip gets you wiped off the site. If you're big, you can do almost anything. The situation with Kai made it impossible to deny. The company wasn't protecting its community, it was protecting its profits. During the Mafiathon, Twitch made a fortune off the subscriptions, ads, and sponsorships tied to Kai's name. Every sub, every gift, every new viewer meant more money for them. There was no incentive to hold him accountable when the chaos itself was keeping people watching. It didn't matter how toxic it got, as long as the numbers stayed high, Twitch had every reason to pretend everything was fine. That moment, the CEO personally showing up and congratulating Kai became symbolic of the entire problem. It showed how far streaming culture had fallen. What once felt like independent creators building their own space now looked like a corporate machine fueled by controversy. Twitch wasn't a platform anymore. It was a spectacle factory. The Mafiathon could have been a creative event, a fun challenge among friends. Instead, it turned into a billboard for Twitch's hypocrisy, a 30-day demonstration that money can buy not just fame, but freedom from consequences. And with the CEO's visit broadcast to millions, that hypocrisy couldn't have been louder. Just when the stream couldn't possibly get any more chaotic, Kai brought in Kevin Hart. On paper, it sounded like the perfect reset, a huge celebrity joining the Mafiathon to bring humor and positive energy back into the room. For a brief moment, the chat lit up. People were excited, ended, and the entire stream felt like it was about to turn around. But, like everything else in this event, it only took a few minutes for that excitement to turn into tension. Kevin's visit started lighthearted, but the energy shifted quickly when some of the guys in the house began talking to his daughter. What should have been a harmless moment turned into yet another on-stream confrontation.
Bro, Kai, you gotta chill, bro.
What you keep doing with his daughter, bro? That's his daughter, man.
No, listen, sir. We're not.
Okay.
Yo, bro, she's 20.
Kev.
I'm be honest
Put a
with you,
shirt on, bro.
That's the first time I almost whipped your ass in a
Kev,
long
put a
time.
shirt on, bro.
I almost
Chill.
jumped on your ass.
Chill,
you hear
chill,
me?
chill,
Don't you tell me what the he is.
Chill, man.
Don't you tell me what she is.
The whole situation was confusing at first. Nobody knew how serious Kevin was being. His tone switched between joking and heated so fast that the line between humor and anger completely disappeared. The room went quiet, everyone unsure whether to laugh or stay silent. To most viewers, it seemed like Kevin was joking, but doing it in that kind of way where there's still a little truth buried underneath. He's a comedian. He knows how to walk that line, but in that moment, it didn't feel like a bit. The frustration in his voice sounded real.
She came out my balls. That's my daughter.
Hey, whoa.
Wait, what?
That's my kid.
They YNs,
That's
bro.
my kid.
They YNs.
No, but don't talk to me about what my daughter did.
I'm just telling you.
I know. I'm saying he's saying lawyer tone. Nah, fact.
Oh, no. Hey,
No, watch out.
Kev,
Lower
I'm
your
telling
tone.
you.
Give me a second.
Lower
Give me
your
a second.
tone.
No. He think because he coming here dressed like an African church goddamn minister that I won't jump on his ass. You hear me?
Chill.
No, man.
Don't do that.
They need to all back up off my daughter. I don't like this whole section.
They just
I don't like this whole section.
talking to her, bro.
That exchange perfectly summed up what the Mafiathon had turned into, an endless stream of confusion and conflict disguised as content. The whole house looked uncomfortable. Nobody knew if they were supposed to keep playing along, and Kai just stood there trying to keep the energy from collapsing completely. Even though Kevin likely meant it as a joke, the moment showed how unstable everything had become. Every conversation, every guest appearance, every bit of fun seemed to spiral into awkwardness or aggression. There was no sense of control anymore. Just noise, ego, and exhaustion. Kevin's visit was supposed to be a highlight. Instead, it became another example of how quickly things could fall apart. What started as celebrity star power ended as another reminder that no amount of fame could save this event from itself. By this point, most viewers had accepted that the Mafiathon wasn't going to be the wholesome or funny event it was supposed to be. The stream had turned into a never-ending chain of awkward moments and arguments, but what happened next managed to cross a different kind of line entirely. It was the moment when the chaos stopped being entertaining and started feeling mean-spirited. Late one night, one of the participants, Tuda, walked into the room holding a small bird that he had found outside. It was clearly a harmless, impulsive thing. He just thought it would be funny to show it on stream. The bird sat calmly on his shoulder while everyone laughed and made jokes about it. But then, out of nowhere, another member of the group, Dusky, decided to pick up a chair and throw it straight toward Tuda and the bird. The clip spread immediately because nobody could believe what they had just seen. While Justin Bieber music played in the background, Dusky, a 31-year-old man, hurled a chair at someone who was holding a live animal for no reason other than wanting attention. If you look closely at the footage, it's obvious that Dusky saw the bird on Tuda's shoulder before he threw the chair. He knew exactly what he was doing. That's what made it so hard to watch.
Drew, do not break the furniture.
What you mean, bro? That's Kev's house. That's really a random bird.
Hey! Bro, we from New York, this
Hey,
Philly.
look, everybody need to change.
Roaches, rats, birds. Baby Chloe.
The rest of the room tried to play it off, making jokes and trying to move on, but you could feel how uncomfortable everyone was. Nobody wanted to confront him directly, even though everyone clearly thought it was wrong. It was one of those moments where the silence said more than the words being spoken. To anyone watching, it was frustrating to see. The entire scene felt like a mix of cruelty and stupidity, and the fact that it happened on such a massive platform made it even worse. Dusky wasn't a teenager making an impulsive mistake. He was an adult, someone who should have known better. Yet here he was, throwing furniture at another person during a live stream that millions were watching. Moments like that revealed exactly what the Mafiathon had become. It wasn't just a disorganized event anymore. It was a stage where grown men acted out for attention, and the audience rewarded it. The incident with the bird wasn't an isolated act of stupidity. It was a symptom of something deeper. Everyone there had been performing for so long that they forgot there were limits. And as much as people wanted to laugh it off, that scene stuck with viewers. It was the point where many realized that the Mafiathon had completely lost its soul. It wasn't about content, community, or fun anymore. It was about noise, ego, and the kind of reckless behavior that only happens when people know they're untouchable. After weeks of chaos, the money kept pouring in. Despite every fight, every awkward moment, and every scandal, the stream's numbers didn't fall. They skyrocketed. But the most surprising part wasn't how much Kai made. It was who was actually paying for it. Most people assumed the donations were coming from regular viewers trying to support their favorite creator. But when the final numbers appeared, it became obvious that the biggest contributions weren't from fans at all. Celebrities, companies, and wealthy influencers were the ones keeping the timer alive. Viewers who could barely pay rent were cheering it on as if they were part of something meaningful, while millionaires handed money to other millionaires for publicity. It stopped feeling like community support and started looking like a networking event for the rich.
Dog got a whole compound. It's like 7 buildings. And it's his compound, it's Boss Lady's compound. Snoop, where the 50,000 subs, bro? Because I love you, you my cousin. I'm not gonna ever do something, say something to somebody that I'm not close with.
We ain't doing the 50.
I would never tell Jim Jones, even though we cool, where the subs, because me and Jim Jones, he not my cousin, so I ain't gonna play with Jim Jones. And I'm not playing with you, Snoop, but you did mention Ray J. Ray J, I heard Ray J. Well, where the 50,000, Snoop? We gotta get it right now, because if you give us the 50,000, we'll end up at 900,000 subs. If you give us the 50,000 subs, well, we're almost to where we need to be.
Those moments made it painfully clear that the Mafiathon had nothing to do with fans anymore. It was a massive cash cycle, where famous people paid each other to boost numbers that didn't mean anything outside of Twitch's balance sheets. Meanwhile, Kai continued asking his everyday viewers, the ones who genuinely looked up to him, to spend their money too.
In the first 30 minutes of me taking a shower, it is called Dirty 30, where while I'm in the shower, if you guys sub up, you guys can make me more dirty.
He turned even the most normal activities into opportunities for more subscribers. At one point, people started calling the entire event the Begathon instead of the Mafiathon, because that's what it had become, an endless marathon of asking for money dressed up as entertainment.
I believe so.
Wait, but how can somebody upgrade you though? That's my question. How do you earn upgrades?
It's taking me up to 500 gifted in the next 30 minutes.
530? God damn! Chris, call someone out with another 100. I want to see the most intense sub battle of all time. How can we do a sub war? How can we do a sub war, chat? Roll call, bitch. Everybody drop a sub.
At first, it might have seemed funny or ironic, but the longer it went on, the sadder it became. The same people who were shouting his name in excitement were now giving him money he didn't need, while Twitch and his celebrity friends quietly collected their share in the background. And the irony of it all was impossible to miss. The stream was supposed to be a celebration of success, yet it ended up exposing how disconnected that success had become from reality. The people watching weren't equals in the celebration, they were spectators funding it. Every time Kai called out for more subs, every time the chat spammed donations, and every time a new sponsor or celebrity showed up, it became more obvious that this wasn't about breaking records or connecting with fans. It was about keeping the money wheel spinning. What had started as a creative experiment in community streaming had turned into a perfect example of how the platform rewards greed. By the end, it didn't even matter how much they made. The message was already clear. In the world of streaming, the rich don't just get richer, they get worshipped for it. By the end of the 30 days, it was hard to tell what the Mafiathon was even supposed to be anymore. It had started as an ambitious event, a massive live stream that was meant to break records and bring people together. But what viewers got instead was a slow unraveling, not just of the people inside that mansion, but of the entire illusion that streaming still had something genuine left in it. Every argument, every donation, every fake laugh piled up until the whole thing stopped feeling like entertainment and started to feel like exposure. The Mafiathon didn't reveal how strong Kai's empire was. It revealed how hollow it had become. You could see it in the way people spoke to each other, in the awkward silences between segments, and in the constant need to turn every uncomfortable moment into content. Kai wasn't just streaming anymore. He was managing chaos, balancing egos, keeping sponsors happy, and trying to make millions of viewers believe that everything was fine. But it wasn't fine. It was obvious that he and everyone around him were burned out, pretending to enjoy a situation that had long since lost its meaning. The saddest part was that the audience could feel it too. By the last week, the energy had completely changed. People weren't watching for fun anymore. They were watching because they couldn't look away. It had become a social experiment about how far fame could stretch before it broke. Even the moments that were supposed to be lighthearted, the jokes, the challenges, the celebrity appearances, all carried a strange tension underneath. It was as if everyone knew they were performing in something that had gone too far but couldn't stop because too much money was at stake. When the stream finally ended, there was no real sense of closure, no emotional payoff, no celebration that felt earned. Kai thanked everyone for watching, just like he always does, but this time, the words sounded different. They felt rehearsed, almost detached, as if he was saying goodbye not just to the event, but to the idea that any of this still meant something. It was a typical outro, but in the context of everything that had happened, it almost sounded ironic. The event had been called the Mafiathon, but by the end, it felt more like a hostage situation, a mansion full of tired creators performing the same cycle of hype and exhaustion over and over again. In a way, that's what made it a perfect reflection of modern streaming. Everyone wants to be part of the show until they realize the cost of staying in it. And for Cenat, the cost of this one wasn't just time or energy, it was authenticity. The Mafiathon didn't just fail because of its chaos. It failed because it proved something most viewers already suspected, that the biggest creators aren't building communities anymore. They're running corporations with an audience attached. And the viewers, no matter how loyal, are just the fuel keeping it all alive. When the cameras finally shut off, it wasn't triumph that filled the air. It was silence. The kind of silence that follows after a party that went on too long. The kind of silence that reminds you that something important has ended, even if no one wants to admit it. When the last timer hit 0 and the cameras finally stopped rolling, the mansion looked empty in a way it hadn't before. There was no cheering, no excitement, no real sense of victory, just fatigue. The Mafiathon had promised entertainment, unity, and record-breaking energy, but what it left behind was a quiet reminder of how far streaming has drifted from what it used to be. Kai achieved exactly what he set out to do on paper. He broke records, made millions, and dominated Twitch for a full month. But in doing so, he also exposed the cost of endless performance. The friendships that cracked under pressure, the fake hype that replaced sincerity, and the way money turns every moment into a transaction. What began as an experiment in endurance ended as proof that endurance isn't always a virtue. Sometimes it's just exhaustion broadcast in real time. For viewers, the event was entertaining. For the people inside that house, it looked like slow emotional decay. In the end, the Mafiathon didn't just change Kai's career, it symbolized a turning point for streaming culture itself. It showed that fame, when stretched too far, starts to collapse under its own weight. And no matter how loud the celebration gets, when the cameras turn off, there's always that silence waiting on the other side. The truth is simple, Kai's Mafiathon wasn't a celebration of success. It was a live-streamed collapse, a disaster dressed in applause.